Think about this. So I can be a massive glare. In the dark. Okay, I'll get a backlight on.
Aaron in the dark.
Yeah. This is the studio.
Right, I'm like on the edge of the screen.
Where do you want to sit? You're in the middle.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Do you want to sit next to me?
No,
I'm joking.
it's because of the. I feel like.
Oh, fair.
That's a bit better.
Yeah.
Are we alive?
Right.
I can't tell. Oh, we do have the link. Nice. Okay. Let's share this puppy. Put a nice little emote in there.
Sending stuff.
I'm just gonna watch it to see how the audio sounds. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice. Maybe wait a couple minutes. Let the people come in.
How many people did you usually have on these ones, the YouTube ones?
Oh, on these ones, a few. We got this this guy that asked me about Blu-rays at the Glasgow Film Festival last time, just saying like, "Yo, it's AirTV." That's the Blu-ray guy.
Oh wait, I saw this on Instagram.
Yeah.
So cool. That's so cool.
But apart from that, not really. They're not like super. This has fucked me up. It's like inversed. You're not. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Shouldn't be too long. It's not quite like radio. It's not gonna be like music breakups and stuff. Yeah. Just more like a conversation with you both. I guess we'll start. How are you feeling about the ATVA season?
Good. Look forward to it.
First.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just I have fuck all else to do right now, so ATVA is the only thing on my timetable. So looking forward to it.
Yep.
I'm excited. I finally last week when I submitted it was like literally an hour before the deadline, and I was so happy with it, so satisfied. And I was like, wait, it's 2 weeks now, and I'm just doing some small promo stuff on Instagram. I decided to do like an Instagram page, just for fun. You're still waiting. It's like 2 weeks, and like literally today I said like, oh my god, 7 days. So a lot of fun. I don't know. It's exciting thing. I feel like one of the best things that we have in ATVA.
Yeah.
So
people definitely get excited for it. And all the promotion you got, like the interviews you got, this, you got everything that goes around it. Yeah, that's exciting.
Are you excited? Your trailer came out today.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Thank you. That's very kind. I am excited about it, actually. I quite like this one. Usually there's parts about it that you like cringe at, or you're just like, oh damn, wish that was better. But kept it pretty simple this year, so I'm not like too feely about it. But I feel like you guys did much bigger films than I did. Like, how are you feeling about yours?
I'm looking forward to it. Again, I also got parts where I'm like, oh, I feel like I could have done this better, or I don't like this bit. But there's some parts there I do genuinely love. So looking forward to it, but also shitting myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like with this one, I feel more confident. When I submitted it, I was like, okay, I'm satisfied with what I have. Like, I mean, I know what I want to improve, especially with the sound. It was like, that's really bad. But at the same time, everything else, I'm really satisfied with what I have now. Just in general, I feel like in comparison to my first ATVA, I kind of knew what I wanted more. And that's why it felt, it was hard to film in some ways because of the amount of locations we had. We had a lot of fun stuff. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, I'm just excited for everyone to see it. I already had like small preview screenings as well from my friends, or like Juliet, one of the actresses, she left to Japan. And so and I was showing her and she was really excited. And I feel like in this one, it's also, for me, was important to see how the team reacts on it. And if they like it and they really loved it. So yeah, that's what matters to me.
That's very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah, I feel like we got some longer films this year. I think you guys are a bit longer from the runtime, but we've also got a lot of like shorter, medium ones. So I think it's gonna be a good selection of like, here's a bigger film, here are a few little ones.
It was really hard for me, to be fair, this year, probably not like really hard, but to stick to the specific like 15 minutes, which is like, but it's like it's still important. But like it was just really hard because I guess we had so many scenes. I tried new thing where I had a script, but also I edited some other scenes, like additional scenes that I'm not sure if I'm going to use or not. So we technically were filming like, you know, like 30 minutes, for example, film, but then I need to cut to 15 minutes, what I think is the most, I don't know, fits the plot or the idea that I want to put in. And so it was more like I was constructing the whole story while doing it, which is also fun to do. And I read your script somewhere like
what, the 50,000 version?
That one in January. Like in January, it was really fun. I'm looking forward to see that.
Yeah, I think my thing with my ATVA is the original story that I had for it. I physically couldn't get down to 15 minutes, like in order to tell it the way I want. So I did end up like simplifying the story a little bit. So which I think is one of the reasons why I'm like, oh, I wish I would have like figured out a way to tell it in the way I wanted. But I still think I got like the main message across with it, and I still think overall it's a really good story. So
no, that's cool. That's why I asked, because I feel like you've been working on yours for a while. How long was your script? And you said January.
Well, I mean, to be fair with this story, I don't know. It feels like maybe somewhere January that I started writing it. Because I had a small meeting with Jack as well, and I was like talking about stuff that I want to try, and I want to do something new, something a little bit different from what I've done. But then while developing this, I was like, what if I'll try to use things that I already did, but improve them a little bit, and it'd be like a small chapter 1 end, and then I'm gonna go into different, more fun stuff. Not more fun, as I still have them, but like completely different horror films or whatever. So yeah, I finished this version of the script of the final one. Somewhere January, I guess, but like the original story was very different. Like I had like this in September, I had this scene in mind, like with Shani, one of the like scenes that I had in the film, but I didn't have anything for it. It was just like that specific scene. And then there was like 48-hour challenge, and we got a dance movie, because the scene that I had in mind was also a dancing scene, and we had 48-hour challenge, it was also a dancing movie, and I practiced that thing. So I kind of like mixed those two things at the end. Now we have this version that I submitted.
It's always nice when you can kind of have that evolution over months and stuff, because as you say, it really changes. I didn't find that with this, because mine was a lot more last minute, but definitely with Fishman, there was like 3 different films it was before like the actual thing. Yeah, always interesting. But I feel like you always come off better at the end. Like the last version of it's always like the best version.
Yeah, like you feel that it's right. But also yours is again about water, connects to water.
Definitely,
100%. It's like it's a connection.
I remember with another film I'd made this year, Guilty Conscience. It's not like an ATVA, but I remember I spent the entire summer writing it. I think there are about like 6 different versions on my laptop of different movies. I think it would be really funny just like make another one to see how it's different. But yeah, no, I think especially with this script, I was kind of pulling my hair out at some point just because I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with it. But yeah, I think that's just the joys of writing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just trying to put something together.
Yeah. Can't wait to see. That's a lot of writing. Like I really, with my one, I didn't write. How was yours? More like storyboarded or like script?
I feel like, to be fair, the final version of script. When I said the final version, what I mean is I didn't have like a lot of drafts of it. I feel like I had just one idea with similar characters, but the ending was completely different, and I didn't put it on paper first. But then I was like constructing it all. I started writing, and I guess I kind of had one draft, but it still had like a few changes in it, like throughout the whole thing. So and it really helped me this time to have like a storyboard, more a visual storyboard rather than just on paper. I don't know, because it's what I tried this time. It was really useful, I guess, for me and for the actors that we had on set. Like I don't know, it was really fun to use. So basically, before every scene, I would give them like a small doc file with all the visual references from different films. So for example, there was like a scene with Juliet and Oliver, and we would have like, I don't know, a small doc file where I have a character description for Juliet, character description for Oliver, and then visual scenes from different films that I like, got inspired by for that specific scene, which was easier for me when I'm filming to kind of keep in mind what I want to show 100%. And for them to understand the vibe that I'm looking for. Yeah. So more like visual storyboard.
And did you learn that would be useful after like daydreaming in some of your other films? Like what things have you learned from what you've made that you found really useful in this one that was new?
I feel like I just felt more confident in directing, because I guess also the people who I was working with this year, we all trusted each other, and we had a very small group usually on set, like not like very small, but depends. They would change a few people here and there, but like most of the time it's only 5 or 6 people, and I felt more confident. I feel like I changed the way I was directing in a way and how I was like functioning in the team rather than like specific things and like making the film itself. I don't know how to explain this, but like not the camera thing, but just like the way I try to explain certain things. And I was telling this to Alex and Brick yesterday as well, like when we had an interview. So that's why I joined SATS, kind of just to know how to talk to actor or with actors to explain what I want to show.
Definitely.
And really helped me this autumn, especially for the autumn play that they had. Maddie and Audrey, they gave me like a chance to be there basically almost every rehearsal, and I was looking how they were constructing it all. And it just really helped me to kind of understand how to talk to people.
Definitely. What about you, Summer? Any skills that you found like have really developed from film to film?
I think something that has kind of developed a lot that I really want to like continue learning is like sort of editing. I feel like I think with this one there was a certain I can't talk through. There were certain shots that I really loved the idea of, and I was like, okay, figuring out, okay, how do I make it? I don't want to give like too much away because I kind of want to keep everything surprise. Sure. There were certain shots I was like, trying to get a bit more practical, figuring out how to do it, and it was really fun just trying to like teach myself how to edit certain things. And I do still think there are things I should develop on. I think sound is also something that I want to improve on, but I think there's some effects in here that I really like. And I just want to continue working on that as well. Yeah, definitely.
That was a big one for me, actually. Like, I never edit my stuff because I'm just like, I feel incapable of doing that. But with this one, like, tried it a little bit because it was just an easy edit. I kind of like used a few cheat codes of there's not any dialogue, so I didn't have to. There was no fear of like bad sound or sound syncing that I had to do, and no scenes really. So I just kind of matched it to the song. But even that, as like an easy edit, I was like, damn, this is like a real skill, like a muscle you need to build upon and kind of get better with. But it's really satisfying. I didn't like realize how satisfying it was. How were you editing yours?
I wanted to ask you, when you edit something, for example, do you construct it while you're editing? Because I sometimes have one idea in mind and start editing. I look through the shots and I'm like, oh wait, I can change it here a little bit, and then I more change the script to what I edited rather than editing by following the script. Was it for you as well, like this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and that's what people say as well. Like, there's kind of three versions of the movie. There's like the written one, the one you find on set, and then the one you find like in the edit. And I definitely found that to be true with this one, and as you're saying as well, which is always fun. You're like, oh, I didn't realize that's like the best way to do it until now.
For me, editing, I guess, for this one was the hardest one, because to be fair, out of all things that I've done, this one's the longest directed. But like this one is the longest. It's almost like 15 minutes, and every scene there is also dialogue heavy. So in my mind was, okay, we're watching it all together, right? So the story, I love those dialogues. They're fun. Actors are doing such a great job. But if it's gonna be boring to watch, then it'll be kind of like it's a little bit sad. So what I was trying to do is I didn't want to cut all the dialogues. I just decided to cut all the scenes into different colors and choose one color scheme and go through the whole film. And basically that's why the editing took me so long, because every scene was supposed to be in different colors based on the emotions and like what characters feel. And I feel like so I was like constructing, like started with, I don't know, the same scene with Oliver and Juliet, for example. There's one color, then I need to go back to Shani's, and then having all of these small pieces, combine it all into one, which was also kind of like just time consuming. And we also have like a big final thing in the end, which was also very important for me to kind of like make it so that it was like not like impact, but more like so that it was emotionally rewarding in a way, because you're watching something and you're kind of expecting something at the end, and if it's not hitting you the way I wanted it or just the right way, then it's going to be like all for nothing. So editing in this one was really hard, but also a lot of fun. I love editing. You're also at your film summer as well, right? Oh, nice.
It was good fun. I think like also I found with editing, sometimes you have to use it to sort of fix your mistakes that you made on set. I remember there was one incident where I accidentally deleted a couple of shots. I could not get them back. I don't know what I did. I just pressed the wrong button at some point. So I just had to have the actors send me voice notes of their lines, and then use the clips that I had, just try to like put it together. I think it still worked. I would have
Nice.
preferred to have the clips, but I think it's still work because I couldn't get anyone back in because everyone was busy because it's during assignment season.
Yeah.
So I just had to work with what I had.
Oh, that's stress.
Yeah, but it was quite funny. This could be a bit out of context. I did have to ask Oliver to send me a voice note of him just saying "ow," and I was like, he sent me a couple of takes, so I just had a voice note of him going "ow." Okay, one more. Ow. Okay, one more. Ow. Okay, one more. Which is just it's. Things like making like horror movies and that is like sometimes you have to ask the most insane things from people and just have to hope that they'll go along with it.
I can relate to this.
Yeah.
Always funny.
Yeah, but it's also funny when you try and explain something to people and they're like, okay. I'm like, I feel like you should be asking more questions here.
Yeah.
I feel like
Definitely.
you shouldn't be going along with it this easily.
I also feel like it's so hard to film horror films, especially like if we're talking about like student horror films. It's
Yeah.
like because I start writing like a horror film, and I'm trying to write one,
Yeah.
and I realized that to make it look not cringy, watchable, and also so the people that we're watching, okay, they're all dying there. It's a horror film, right? So it's a spoiler. But when you watch someone who's they're like killing, they're dying there, someone killed them, stabbed them, it's also kind of funny. So you need to find the right balance. So I don't know how you're doing this. I was like, I would have been scared to send this to the office. So I trust you though, but it's so fucking scary.
Yeah, no, it's just I think there were some parts that turned out a bit goofy, but I love goofy horror
Yeah,
films.
It's a fun,
Like trashy slashers, and it has a lot of influence from like 80s slashers.
Mm.
So anything that turns out unintentionally goofy, that's my excuse.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's what I was going for, totally. But if it turns out a bit silly, then it's fun.
Yeah.
80s and like for me 90s and 2000s, early 2000s were the main inspirations for this one, especially through the songs. I guess I realized that like there's some scenes from films that I used, they're like scenes from last year mostly, to be fair. But like I was like looking through and I realized that maybe, I don't know, it's just somehow that happened like this, but the songs are all from the 90s. That was like helping me to create the vibe that I wanted to, because I usually use a lot of brain and stuff.
Yeah.
Just for this one, it feels like I mean, I feel like this was not like the last one with grain and the amount of filters. It was like necessary for this story, but I want to try and do something different for next time. But with this one, especially with the songs, they're like making this vibe of, I was trying to do like an old cassette that you find somewhere and you're watching it on like a small TV. That's what I really wanted to show. And yeah, songs really helped me with this one. But it's also like 90s kind of vibes. And yeah.
That's cool. I mean, good talk about music, because I mean, you're using music, I'm using music. What's the music like in yours? Is it like got a big presence?
Not a little bit. Yeah, obviously I use some just music that I found online for like the suspenseful scenes to sort of add to the elements there, and put in a bit of Rob Zombie as well, because I did make myself a playlist to sort of help me with the writing. There was a lot of like 80s rock and like goth music on there as well.
Nice.
So yeah, it was I can't talk. I do like the idea of maybe using music in future films as well. Just that is also something that I do want to like work on again with things like sound.
Definitely.
What songs do you use? Is it like a playlist or just one song, the main one, or
In this film?
in this?
In this film, it's just 2 songs, both by the same artist called Ye Vagabonds. Just kind of like Celtic folk music. I'm someone who, like, when I'm thinking of a scene, I always just like, I'm trying to match music with it. I think I'm more of like a music video director than anything else, to be honest, because writing I can't be arsed with. But I love like stories matched with music kind of thing. So I think this is kind of like a first run at that. But similar as you're saying, like making the playlists and soundtracks always comes like first, at least for like gauging what maybe the feeling is for most of it. And then obviously you don't want to use music like all the time. Don't want to rely on it. It's always difficult. But yeah, I think it turned out well. Excited to see there's a few good use of music actually. I've seen a few cuts of different films, and yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Everyone's cooking with the tunes this year.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Is there anything from both your films that like you want to talk about? Were there any like creative stuff that particularly got you excited with these films? Or so you don't want to give much away with the story, but anything you want to talk about?
I feel like in this one, it's just the whole process for me was really, I mean, it sounds very like corny and everything, but like more inspiring in a way, because it finally, when I was doing this one specifically, this one, maybe because of the people who were with me, like everyone who I know and everyone, like we're all friends and everything. It's just, the process was so nice. And I remember there was one specific day, we were filming in Edinburgh, and it was such I don't know, everything was perfect. Like it was like this. I don't know. We had only 2 hours in a specific location, and we had to run somewhere else, and it was all so nice. We were all having fun. We were actually doing this for fun, not thinking about the final result. And I wasn't really stressing much. I usually stress a lot when we're like a lot, and I wasn't. I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like this one was really like it's a new thing for me, especially because we started filming in March. It wasn't really like March was horrible, but like at the end of March, when we started doing all of this, I was like, oh wow, I finally like what I'm doing, and it just really helped me to get through all the bad stuff that I had and just get into like new thing and to put all my emotional process into that thing, which is like not like connected into anything I've had, like just in general. I feel like with just even constructing this like small dog files with like references, and it just kind of like distracts you from things, which was really useful for me and helpful. And just in general in this film, I feel like I really want people to see like Shani and Juliet, especially because it was when I was writing those characters, I kind of like knew kind of who I wanted to see in them, and I was trying to construct so that like those characters were a little bit matching with personalities of the actors themselves, not like fully, but just like small parts here and there. Like for Shani, I don't really know, but maybe like they're graduating, that's what I know, and maybe they won't be like in any atlas next year. And in my story, there is like an actress who's like, or like a showgirl who's been like in the industry, because like the name is Fame, so it's like she's been there for a while. And then there's like a new girl like Juliet, who's like, this is her first ATVA. It was really fun to show this kind of way and how they were interacting and talking about ATVAs and stuff, and then to put this into the script itself and construct the whole like personality for them, and just the world building as well, and just a little bit like, because it had a lot of locations in this specific film. We used a lot, like almost every scene is like in a different location, just to make this, to immerse people and be like, oh, this is kind of real in a way, that like those this is all like one big world. It's not just in one room, which is like, it just for this story, it wasn't like, I mean, it was necessary to be everywhere. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I went into different answers in this question, but like, what was for you, Summer?
I can't think, sorry. I just kind of have a similar thing with yours. It's like, I do just kind of hope that I do kind of feel like it was just fun. I think at the end of the day, if I'm like stressing about how certain things turned out or whatever, at the end of the day, like I had a good time making it. Everyone else who worked with me had a great time making it. I can't think of a fucking answer. I'm so sorry.
How was, because I mean, you're talking about like that. Mine was kind of similar, where like metatextually the film maybe means more to me rather than like constructing a story in terms of like saying goodbye to certain stuff because I'm leaving, kind of like that. But obviously being, a couple of years younger, is it more about like constructing a cool story about the things you like? Because that's definitely like when I was writing stuff around then, it was more similar, because I guess you're not having to like really talk about what's going on. Was it more just like a made up story with like influences of films you like?
Yeah, I guess like something with, especially making this one, but I felt it a little bit last year as well, where I did kind of get in my head about it. I was like, oh no, I need to make something great. I need to make something that does like this. I need to make that. And I found myself like comparing myself to like other actors and that. And then I just hit a point of like, fuck it. It's like, it's my movie. I'm doing what I want. And it's like, and just something that I told myself when like something goes wrong or anything, I'm just like, as long as I make something that's fun and that I had a good time making, and then anything that went wrong, I'll do better for it next time. Remember last year, I really tried to make something like personal or like something that would be like really, really good. But then I just said fuck it and just made like a movie about being unable to write an outfit. So I was like, I just want to make something. But I'm really grateful that I made that, because it really like broke that sort of like block of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Now I'm like, I do know what I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, I could do this, I could do that. And like, it kind of just like
you
helped me get those
made
ideas.
like an ATVA in between that and this one with what's it called? Sorry, with the mask.
Guilty Conscience.
Guilty Conscience, yeah. Because that feels like even bigger, that you clearly like activated on that pretty quickly and then made something in between, which is cool. I mean, similarly, you made
some things.
Truth, right?
Yeah, I mean, the truth thing is with Luca last summer,
Mm-hmm.
it was really, actually, I don't know, it's still, I don't really understand. Like, it has like 12,000 views or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it keeps going on. Like, what? For what? Like, genuinely, I don't really understand. We made this all together. And Summer was there, by the way.
It's really good.
Thank you. But it was
Those things
last,
are short.
it was last summer. It was really after the ATVA, and I was like, oh, I want to do something so much, but I just didn't know what. And I wrote that thing just literally in a day. I guess I wrote that script, and then in 2 days we filmed everything, and it was done. And then we released it like in November. And for this year, I filmed one thing that like I'm gonna release later, maybe in September, October, because I want to try and work on it more for one of my modules. It's like one of the films that I did with Oliver. He's such a nice person to work with. He's like so.
Oliver's the best.
Yeah,
I can confirm.
It's so
Yeah.
so fun, and it's always the way he changes into characters, especially with this one. That scene, like with Juliet, for example, he's so different from what we usually see in Oliver. That's why I like that scene. I didn't even cut it like at all. I wasn't sure about the time, like 15 minutes or not, but I was like, no, I'm keeping that scene. I didn't want to even cut this because in the original idea, so they're talking and they're looking at the people who are in the room, and the original idea was to cut it the way that, for example, we sometimes see those people in the room. And I was like, no, I'm not sure, because I'm cutting those scenes and I'm like, it doesn't make any, like, it makes sense, but also the shot is so nice and the way they interact is so nice. So I just decided to just keep it like this. So it's like a 2-minute conversation of him telling the story about the world they live in, which is, I love this one. And I feel like in this ATVA as well, what was important for me, like the more I think about it, it's just to try and, I don't know, just to tell a little bit new story from what I usually am telling. Like, one of the first drafts was like 2 actresses and one of them is going crazy insane and she kills another one, which was like, it was fun. I mean, if you imagine this, it was just fun to watch. But I was like, but is it actually necessary? Like, I started to I was like, do we actually need a sad ending? And now the more I show this film, I realize that people actually like more happy ending. It's not like a spoiler, but it's just like the way it was more for me to understand what audience like this year, and I was trusting them as well in many ways. Like in poster or trailers, I had like small previews. I was like looking at the reactions, what people liked, what they disliked, and based on this, now I try to post everything, and it's like it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely keeping the audience in mind. Definitely, I was similar. Kind of, well, you got to match, like, what do you want to see on screen? Like, if you were the audience, for example, which I definitely had in mind, and also like trying to gauge what would be refreshing, which is tough. Yeah, how did you find that? Were you just kind of making what you would like to see?
Yeah, because I kind of found a little bit, sometimes I was thinking about what does the audience want to see. I think I struggle to like find a balance with that, because I'll either like try and make something that I want to make, but then I'm like, oh, I need to consider what like people on AirTV want to see, and then that kind of just starts outweighing it. So that's something that I do kind of want to work on as well, just like trying to find that good balance. But I think I would always kind of prioritize what I want to make, not because, oh, screw everyone, who cares, but it's more just like, if you're making something that you genuinely want to make, then I think it'll turn out a lot better. Whereas you're trying to like figure out what everyone else wants to see, and that you just find yourself just kind of guessing, not actually thinking about, you know, what people like. You're just like, I think they'll like this. Will they? Who knows? But yeah, I think it's also just, I would get a lot of feedback from like cast and crew and that. I sent the video out to everybody once it was done, just being like, please don't hate it. And I got positive feedback from everyone. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Everyone had a great time filming.
That's a big thing.
So, well, I'd hope I never got any complaints. Hope not. But yeah, everyone seemed to have we had a good time making it. I think it turned out really well. So, and yeah, had good reviews so far.
Nice.
To be fair, with me, it's more like, not like screw everyone, because no, I genuinely do think about what other people, not like what other people will think, but I consider like the way, how, if they're gonna notice this in a way, because we're doing those films, but we not like have the hope that people will see this, but just in general, you're presenting this to someone and you want to be like, I don't know, you want to show something nice. And I feel like the moment I stop thinking about this, like what other people gonna think of, which is why I like AirTV, that we have different genres and everything. So I feel like it helps me to be like, oh, I can release whatever. Like it's still gonna be there. Like if not like, I don't know, not the majority, but some people will like it in a way, so it's fine. So for me, it wasn't the moment I stopped thinking in terms of story what people will like and what they will enjoy, and I started like putting my things that I like and that I want to see. I realized that it's so much easier to work with. But with promo, that's where I was like actually asking a lot of advice and be like, so what do we think? What about this one? What about this one? Because the whole thing that I divided this, I don't know if, I don't know, my poster's not out yet, but like it's on my other page. It's like the flashlight that we have on one of the actresses is because of the fame and the idea of this concept of how we understand this like world of like fame, right? And then they all change into darker tones because it's like after the flashlight and photos goes darker, and we show the different side of it, and it's really fun to work with. And I see how people react to it, and they really love this. I love this as well. Yeah, so in your film as well, did you find something challenging in filming? Because it was like from the trailer that I saw, it's in the water.
Yeah,
how was it?
At least a little bit. I loved that. Kind of just another excuse to get in the water, to be honest. That was fun. Difficulties, I guess, just because it was like short notice. And another thing.
Can you do the voice? Not now, Jack. Not now. Not now.
I look forward to the voice. I didn't know we had comments. Nice. Well, I guess the main thing was we were shooting in North Berwick because the film, that's where I'm from, and really wanted to be like kind of a love letter to that place. So I couldn't film it anywhere else. It's about an hour and a half away, and we've been so busy up until like kind of last week before ATVA's helping other people's that couldn't really get around to mine. So I just asked McQuaid's and Logan. I was like, could we just go down for a couple of days, see what we can get? Because a lot of it's kind of like weather dependent and like some other external variables there that we couldn't really plan for. It's just kind of like fingers crossed. There was supposed to be a whole other scene we couldn't get, but it was never like bad. I went there with the intention of like, this is flexible. We're gonna have a fun time, which I feel like you always kind of have to do. And you're just kind of like feeling your way through it. You know what you kind of want it to feel like. So just walking around trying to be like, that would work. That would be nice. And yeah, definitely finding on set's always fun. Not really any difficulties, but definitely like a flexibility was required. No rigid script.
So if it's like in your hometown, so it's more like not like personal story, but you were trying to put something personal into
definitely personal. But like really don't want to be like pretentious. So hopefully like personal, not pretentious is like the goal. And personal in a way that hopefully it's like infectious. Like if you make a fun film, that's infectious. If it's personal to me, hopefully it'll feel like personal to you. Like I've left it vague enough that hopefully like people can find it personal in their own way rather than just mine. We'll see.
In my, I feel like in terms of personal, I put more into small hints that only I will know, like in terms of locations or maybe songs that I used. Like the one that I remember from something, which was really fun because for people it's just a song and you always like look at all of this and the reaction. You're like, wait, actually for me it's like it's a little bit different. And so and with this one specifically, because I try to be like, whenever I write something, I try not to take anything like, not like from my personal experience. Of course we always use something here and there, just like fun stuff, but I try to create like a completely different or other character or someone who's like not similar to anything. But with this one, I was like, oh, I'm going to use this a little bit and here a little bit and here a little bit. And it was really fun. And I reconstructed some things while filming towards like specific people. It was just, fun stuff.
Definitely. And how was like, I don't know, was there any practical stuff that was difficult to get? Because we've talked about like writing and like creative stuff, but like actually on set trying to like crack a scene or a... not stunts, but were there any like set pieces that were difficult or like kind of external problems that you had?
I feel like maybe I mean mine is I will give an answer, but I know that some are used like even fake blood, because it's a horror. So
it's more
right. It's kind of like there was a difficult part of just like how do I like explain this to actors? So I also like I'd gone around with like the actors and that being like, hey, you're not like, obviously the main thing was like, you're not allowed to say anything. I'm not going to destroy your clothes, am I? Because I'd used that stuff before and I washed out of clothes just fine. So it was just more just being like, just make sure you're comfortable with that. Everyone was chill. I didn't, because obviously fake was a wee bit more expensive. I didn't use as much, like too much. So it was just like, I think Chloe ended up the worst out of everyone. Sorry, Chloe. But yeah, also there's also my main character, like the villain is like a zombie, obviously. So I end up asking my friend M to do the zombie makeup because I know they're really good at that sort of stuff. And I think it turned out really fucking well.
Yeah.
Like I kind of just gave M like some general photos of like, I'm thinking this sort of vibe, but off you go, do what you want. And M had done the makeup while I was filming a different scene, walked back in, saw Erin covered in like the zombie makeup. I was like, that looks sick. I was so like, it was happier than it was better than I thought it was gonna be. Like it was so good. No offense, but yeah, I used a lot of different like sort of I used quite a few different practical things because I'm such a nerd about practical effects in horror movies.
Me too.
It's the only reason I watch the Terrifier movies.
Yeah.
So it was just like watching those sort of films. I was like, I really want to do something with like some sort of practical effects. And I really want to work on that in the future. Like I'm planning over the summer to try and do some like research. I went to HorrorCon this year back in April, and I saw a bunch of stalls advertising like practical effects, like makeup classes. I really want to look into doing something like that so I can try and do something even bigger for next year.
Yeah,
so
that's a great idea.
It would be like good fun. So yeah, I just want to. That's my main goal with this. One of my main goals for next year is just try and do something like continue doing stuff like that.
Definitely,
because it's good fun.
Yeah, I feel like the more you make stuff, you realize that you're actually interested in the same stuff every single time. It's just like a different version of that. Like those core ideas. It's like, I don't know, we only like a select few things and we just keep doing it in different ways. So I like that kind of escalation of, it probably will be similar to this, but just like bigger or hopefully better in different ways. And I feel like similarly.
Yeah, and I feel like in this one we didn't have practical effects, and in this one the story is not about this. I was thinking to add some small fun parts at the end when I was already filming it, and then I was like, wait, do we actually need this? You know, you start to question this as well of like, am I doing this just to but like to do something bigger and better than someone? I'll try to do this in a different way, or like, but do you actually need this? So I feel like in this way our story is more. It's not about practical effects, but it was important to construct for the final like scene, one of the scenes just at the start as well. There were like a few dancing parts. It was really, and with the rehearsals that like Juliet and Shani did, it was also, that was, I guess, not like challenging part. Again, there was nothing like challenging. I feel like the most challenging is to get all together.
Yeah, I agree at the end stuff.
That's the toughest part. But the process itself was fun. Even the rehearsals as well, it was really interesting to see how they construct this so that it was all matching the story and the characters they're playing. And I didn't even use the whole like all the dancing parts, like because they were supposed to be in different points of the film. And and it's just at the very end you can see like, oh, it's like only here, only there. But the process of constructing it all, it was a long, especially to use the song, and you need to. There was maybe this was also challenging in a way because I'm not like, I don't know anything about dancing like at all. Like I'm not dancing like at all, and I just I don't know. And then Juliet was asking me some questions. She was like, so what do you want? What do you see? And I was like, I can see it visually. I cannot explain this. Like I can see the shot, but I don't know what moves to do. Like I genuinely am not dancing at all. And we were trying to understand what I want in a way. Like I can draw this. I can show you the reference in the film, but I don't know how to put the dance in the process. So she was like constructing and trying to make this the right piece of it. And then she did, like eventually we had like a nice thing. And also with song, because you need to choose the song that you're going to use at the end. And I usually am very confident with what I use for in terms of songs, but even now, like I had, for example, 8 or 7 that I was like, they're gonna be there, not all of them, but some of them definitely gonna be there. But when you're editing, again, it might be like a third film, right? A third version. So the vibe a little bit changes or something. And you're like, fuck, I don't like this song anymore. Maybe I want this song. But in this one, you can't do this because it's like a dance. So it has to be a specific rhythm and everything. So you need to use that specifically, like that specific song. But I guess I was just lucky with the way it all turned out. So it wasn't like, in the end, even that song matched the whole vibe. And now I'm releasing like every day one song at a time, just to kind of like, just to remind people that ATVAs are coming, like tickets and stuff. And it's a lot of fun because I see the variety of it all when you finally look at it like this. And you're like, oh, okay, it's somehow it works. Like they're all so different, but it works.
It's fun. I really can't wait to see both of them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see yours as well.
Thank you.
I
look forward to the posters and trailers. Because I don't really know. Obviously, like through our discussion, I'm like learning a bit more about them. But overall, I don't know much. So.
Well, I like your poster though. It was
Thank you.
really fun.
Yeah.
I like the story as well. It's like it kind of continues the water theme, but
Yeah.
also in a different direction, I guess. Like it feels like it's a bit different from what you
Yeah.
did last year.
Yeah, definitely. But as I say, like, interested in the same stuff, I feel like, all the time. So
Yay.
you got to remember what you love, huh?
Yeah.
Great conversation. Thank you both for coming around.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, keeping the ATVA excitement alive. We have one person watching. That's exciting.
One person, but like, they can win a free ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Free ticket to the app.
Okay, no.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. It doesn't say.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank
That's
you.
been Air on Air, kind of YouTube Live.
Bye.
Bye-bye.